Please subscribe show. YouTube Cole Spivey. Yeah, man.
Sorry, I just dropped off Perry's at Steaks, but I mean some steaks at Perry's for this factory worker. But it's very interesting. I was impressed to know that Deb actually supported this unknown artist, gave him a penthouse and a studio and all this kind of stuff. It was very strange things. But, you know, he must have liked his paintings, and it's an interesting story. I think that probably one day we will probably do this, they'll turn this probably into some type of movie. They usually do cover biopics, Marlon Brando will have a few biopics before it's all over. Johnny Depp obviously will, they'll make a movie about, and they'll go back and the truth will be investigated, you can say. But, you got to be careful what you say about other people. And that's kind of one of the reasons I don't really want to talk about this, because one thing, we don't have any scientific evidence of really, word of mouth is important nowadays, and your word is really kind of all you have. I think Johnny was trying to say that in his monologue, is that your word is sometimes all you had. Arthur Miller's talked about this, the playwright Arthur Miller. A person's name is at stake here. So when you say something and criminal charges are brought about. Now this happened to me as once a married man and a family man of 3 children. And I was obviously disciplining my children, and I had the cops knock on my door, and I had to let the cops in, show them that my kids had got in to all these spices, and my kids were like wild Indians, throwing them all over the place, and I had to make them pick it up, right? Because I had to teach them that if you're going to throw spice all over someone's living room, then you're going to pick it up, And it took me some harsh, kids, pick it up, pick this up, get over here, get up, drill sergeant kind of stuff, get over there, pick this up, you're going to pick this up, get this dustpan, you got to be careful. I was told in a marriage counseling, you never yell. You never yell in the household, but let me promise you, it does happen, but you don't want to, right? So you have to be careful. You're walking on eggshells as a father, right? Now, I don't know if Amber, okay, I don't know if she is the mother of his children, and I would probably say no. And my best bet is for her to probably just to back off from the situation as a family man to another family man and to a woman. I don't know her past, but at this point, she can come out and say, well, maybe I stretched the truth a little far, or maybe I stretched this lie a little too far, or maybe I wasn't exactly being honest, right? We all can do that. We can all say this to the women out there that do gossip against men, right? That they can come out eventually, and a lot of times they won't. Listen, women can be stubborn. They can be very stubborn. And I'm not saying this about all women. There are some great women. Listen, behind every man is a great woman. That's always going to be the truth. John Lennon even sung about it, right? Behind every, or Yoko Ono even sang about it. There's always a great woman behind a great man. But in this case, and I don't know what was said, I'm not following all of it. I'd have to really investigate everything. But it sounds like to me, 6 years ago, something was said that wasn't exactly true. And then you drag someone into court, and $50 million is I don't even know if that's even true, but what they're actually, what's going on, what's at stake, it seems like a lot. And me, I'm not, I had gotten into some trouble over the church on Facebook, but I still feel at that time as a family man that we did need help from the church, and we did get help from the church. We got clothing, at times we got food, we got help from the church when we were struggling taking care of 3 babies, three children. So there was a time when we got in trouble and we needed help, and they did come to help. They helped us move and all that stuff. But me trying to start up this whole business, no one wanted to be a part of it. And I was very desperate at the time because I had lost my job at the bank. I did go to some of the elders and I did ask for $200. Now, one man did come forward at a time when our landlord was being difficult. He did bail me out, and I did pay him back. Now, I even took a photo and turned that, I think I put that on Facebook showing that I did pay back this elder, which I did pay him back because he was nice enough to come forward and help. So the church did come forward and help, but not everybody did. And some of the people that were elders there that were well off just ignored the situation or simply said, no, I will not help you. Right? And that hurt me. And I got upset about it. And I said, so-and-so treats so-and-so like trash. They treat the poor like trash. And this happens all over the world. Right? Now, that person, of course, got upset. I removed what I said about them. But even to this day, I have not received any help at all from that person. Now, that person did physically come in and help me move, and there was some help that he did do. And so he doesn't have to give me anything, right? But what hurt me was not the fact that he did not lend me the $200 that I asked for on this one little mini indie evangelical shoot that I wanted to do on this little short film that I had to come up with the money myself. That is not what hurt me. What hurt me was that he said he was not interested in what I was doing. And at the time, I was trying to do a remake of an Alex Kendrick novel that was originally called Flywheel, and I was trying to do one that was called Sparkplug, also known as Flex Plate. It was a different version. They didn't want to have anything to do with it at all. Said no. And that's what made me mad, is that they took my idea and went, right? And I was like, hey, I really worked hard on this, and we could do something about this. Even if everyone worked for free, and even if everyone participated and didn't give me any money, I would still have been honored to go along with it. But they just said, no, Cole. This is not what you are, and maybe not, but this is what I've become. So that some of that I was accused of slander. And to be honest, I would say, even if I had to, I would say, yes, this person did ignore me. This person did tell me no. And this person did say they were not interested. Okay? That was true. And if I'm not mistaken, I think Jesus Christ considered us as friends. And when you're a part of a church, you're friends. And when you turn your back on your friend, you're not showing the actions of Jesus Christ. You're not showing what Jesus Christ told us to be like. They could have found a way to say, listen, we can't give you any money, but we want to participate. We want to help in some way. And I've had many ministers and many people of the church sign pieces of paper so that I could get some of this YouTube stuff out there, right? Because I am a Christian, okay? And it hurt me because at the time we were struggling. I did go off with one of my high school buddies, and we did do a little piece, right? So we continue to do it anyway. But what was upsetting me was not the fact that they didn't just shovel over $200 to me. What was upsetting to me is that they just said no. And then all of a sudden I responded on a Facebook post saying that so-and-so treats poverty-stricken people like trash. And then they got really upset because they didn't think I was going to do anything. Now, I probably shouldn't have done that. That's why I removed the post, right? But I think art happens. When someone goes out there and does something in one way or another, I think it happens. But you have to make it happen. And the more help and the more support that you get from other people, I think the more worthwhile it is. But if you get no support from it and they try to dictate what you are and try to tell you what you are, that can lead to some battles. Because I'm not telling them what they are, nor have I ever. And yeah, some of them have come to my plays and stuff like that, and they've helped in some way or another. But you don't dictate to a person what they are. Because at the time, I was no longer a banker, and I needed some type of work. Okay? So I just wanted to get that out there. Time's fine. Thank you. Listen, what I have to say now about child abuse, and I'm still listening to Johnny Depp stuff, is if you're a parent today, please be careful with your children. Because there's social media. And they can reach out far quicker than what you think. So if you're a parent today, you're a good parent, right? Because everything you do can be examined immediately. And that's not just nationwide, that's worldwide. So, it sounds like to me, from listening to the trial between Deb and Heard, is that there's abuse evident. And that's the truth of it. And what I mean by abuse, I mean by one thing, that Johnny, as a child, was abused. And I don't know for sure, 100%, nobody knows exactly who was throwing the punches, but it probably looks like it was Amber. And I too have been hit by women throughout my life. And it's a serious thing. That's why I'm so obsessed with the Elliott Smith case, because they found him on the ground dead with a knife in his heart with a memo pad suicide note, little tiny sticker memo pad that said, sorry, and Jennifer Chiba is perfectly, perfectly safe today, everything's fine. And they say that Elliott Smith did it to himself. I don't know. That's what they say. I don't know how the story goes in the end. But I think that a person that has suffered child abuse at a young age, especially as a boy, are sometimes likely to get in that situation when they're older, because they understand how to accept abuse. And hey, just looking at Amber in the courtroom, it looks like she could probably have thrown a few punches. And for her not to go out and say, look, I hit Johnny Depp.
Approaching a railroad crossing.
It's pretty low. No, because if she did any of that, and she's sitting there holding it, sitting on the truth and lying, then that's, pretty... I gotta find my way out of this real quick. Just give me a second. Sorry, I have to do my reporting and do delivery at the same time. It's pretty low of her, If she hit the man, and this is a family man, this is a father, and then she's, lying about the abuse. Oh, this is cool. Right here, got some cows right there. Then it's going to come out. The truth will prevail. Johnny Depp is right. The truth will prevail. And if you sit on the truth, eventually it'll bite you, Now, I personally, I was hit by my second, even my first wife even cold cocked me. She knocked the crap out of me. And my second wife hit and clawed all kinds of stuff, because she would get mad, they get mad and they turn into these like werewolves kind of thing. That's why I'm writing a werewolf script. Now, I got through it. It wasn't bad, but I did take photos. So, I do have photos, and I did post them and keep them safe. But you should do that in any relationship on both genders. Gender's not part of it. I mean, if someone is hitting another person, photos need to be taken. And I would say get out of that relationship.
Watch out. Object on road ahead.
I would say, once the physical abuse comes about, get out of that relationship. Because I'm dealing with that with another friend of mine, trying to convince her to move on and depart from that relationship. Because it's not good, right? It's beyond toxic. Toxic can be just when you're arguing and yelling and toxic stuff come into the relationship. When the physical abuse gets there, that's when you draw the line. That's a cool hawk right there. I always think of Lady Hawk. That's where you draw the line, right? So we tell these stories, we do these things, we speak out, not only so truth can be exposed, right? But so that we can learn from it. So really what we're doing with this Johnny Depp trial is we're learning about abuse in a relationship. I think it's very important. Everything that's going on, I think it could be in marriage counseling, all kinds of stuff. And it looks like that's why it's being exposed. Now, there's money being tossed around, things like, yeah, okay, that's fine. But I think it's being brought out to the public, and why it's being held in Virginia. There's a lot of mysteries to it. But it's being exposed so that we can learn from it, that once physical abuse gets part of a relationship, that's when you say no more and move on. And that's what we're going to learn from this, But, I don't know. You know, they met on the set of Rum Diaries, which is ironic. I mean, I'm sure Hunter S. Thompson, you know, there was probably, he's probably been hit a few times himself by many different people, but people get hit. And I think in this case, from what I'm listening to, I think that Depp got hit. He got smacked around by this lady. And then she goes off. And what's really bad is she goes off and then lies about him in a tabloid, you know, and then I think that really set him off. He said, we're getting lawyers and we're gonna get back at this lady, you know, supposed lady. That's the thing, you know. I think divorce is low. I think divorce is horrible. But when you lie and you print it on paper and it's a blatant lie, that can hurt far more than a few slaps, because that stuff gets printed. And remember what I said about the word. It outweighs everything else. The word will outlast the heaven and earth. You know, that's what it says in the good book. You know, the words, printed words, are so incredibly powerful. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think Johnny Depp's obsessed with books, because he searches for truth and these words, right? He's obsessed with words, with books and words, right? Because those are important things. And when you publish stuff that's not true, it's actually breaking one of the 10 Commandments, believe it or not.